Chevrolet muscle cars are legendary for their power, performance, and jaw-dropping designs. Think Chevelle SS and Camaro ZL1. Today, I am diving into the 50 rarest Chevrolet muscle cars ever made, plus one aftermarket version that comes with a 1,000 horsepower engine. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's put the pedal to the metal. Coming in at number 50 is a 2024 Chevrolet Corvette E-Ray. The 2024 Corvette E-Ray is not rare yet, but will be hard to find and expensive down the road. It is billed as the fastest accelerating Corvette model ever, faster than the rear-drive Corvette Z06 Coupe. In terms of numbers, that's 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds, while the Z06 takes 2.6 seconds. Not a big difference, but seconds count on the track. The 2024 Corvette E-Ray comes with several convertible firsts, starting with a hybrid powertrain that mated with the Stingray's 6.2-liter V8, and a permanent magnet electric motor produces an astounding 655 horsepower and 592 pounds of torque. The E-motor streaming power to the front wheels makes the E-Ray an all-wheel drive supersport muscle car of the new era. It is often considered the Porsche 911 of Corvettes, and competed with thoroughbred sports from Ferrari and Lamborghini. The Corvette E-Ray is available as a coupe and convertible, and is loaded with advanced modern features like a heads-up display, a wireless smartphone charging pad, a 14-speaker Bose stereo system, blind spot monitoring, and more. At number 49 is the 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air Indy Pace Car. The Chevrolet Bel Air starred as the official pace car of the Indy 500 in 1955, making it a blue-chip collector car right out of the box. It came suited with panoramic sweep-sight windshields, carpeted interior, chrome trim, skewer spears, a rich color white and orange palette, a Hotchkiss drive shaft, extra-large brakes, and Bel Air scripted in gold on the vehicle. In terms of performance, the 55 Chevy Bel Air Indy Pace Car was built for action with an integrated 265 cubic inch 4.3-liter V8 engine that pushed it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 12.5 seconds. The car was factory fitted with a 2-barrel carburetor that produced an output of 162 horsepower, but could be optioned with a 4-barrel carburetor, which bumped the power to 180 horses. Transmission options included a 3-speed standard manual or a 2-speed Power Glide Auto. The popular Bel Air convertible, which saw 41,292 units produced in 1955, is now a rare bird and valued at over $150,000. At number 48, we have the 1963 Chevrolet Nova SS. Chevy released the first Nova in 1962, but 1969 was the first year for the Nova Supersport option. And they went like hotcakes, with over 44,000 Nova SS coupes and convertibles sold in 1969, all packing a big block engine into a compact chassis. In 1969, the Nova SS could only be had with a modest 6-cylinder engine, which defeated the purpose of buying an SS Badger to begin with. Performance wasn't the main selling point of the 63 Nova SS given its 6-banger block, but many people bought the SS among other trims for the SS-specific accessories like bucket seats, a floor shifter, wheel covers, a special instrument cluster, the Supersport emblems, and most importantly, the ability to swap the factory V6 with a V8. Seeing the growing demand for V8s in one of the smallest cars in the market, Chevy introduced the Nova SS with a V factory option in 1964. The price of the 1963 is somewhere around $40,000, depending on its condition. At number 47, the 1969 Chevrolet Chevelle SS396. Up until 1969, the Chevelle SS396 was a standalone model, so if you desired the 375 horsepower from the iconic 396 cubic inch L78 V8, you were only given the choice to buy the limited number of SS models released that year, like 612 units in 1967. In 1969, Chevy released over 80,000 Chevelle SS396 models. Because the SS96 became an optional package that could be fitted to any variant of the Chevelle that year, including the low-line 300 Deluxe Sport Coupe. The 1969 Chevy Chevelle package came with a 396 cubic inch big block V8 under the hood, but there were several other engine options available to buyers within that category, such as the base L35, which certainly wasn't no slouch, with 325 horsepower and an impressive 410 pounds of torque. Other engine options for the Chevrolet Chevelle SS396 option included the L34, which produced 350 horsepower, and the mighty L8, which unleashed 375 horse. Good examples of the 1969 SS396 Chevelle are priced between $60,000 to well over $100,000. At number 46 is the 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Chevy unleashed the Z28 variant of the Camaro in 1967, mainly geared towards track racing in the SCCA Trans Am series, and offered a very limited production run of just 602 units. You probably couldn't get your hands on one then and now, but what many don't know is that the 1968 Z28 Camaro comes with a better and more powerful engine and an array of upgrades over its predecessor, and Chevy produced roughly 7,100 copies that model year. The 1968 Camaro Z28 was a racer's delight and featured the same 302 cubic inch small block engine rated at 290 horsepower as its predecessor. But the 68 Z28 arrived without vent windows and a new air inlet system dubbed astroventilation, a heavy-duty suspension, and a 4-speed manual Muncie close ratio transmission, which allowed the vehicle to run the quarter mile in under 14 seconds. At around 7,000 units sold, the Z28 is still rare and is valued at more than $70,000 for a piece in good condition. At number 45 is the 1963 Corvette Stingray. 1963 was a debut year for the Corvette Stingray, a hood trim machine that simulated oil coolers. This split-window personality, along with other performance upgrades, makes the 63 Corvette Stingray one of the most desired vets in the company's lineup. Corvettes weren't taken seriously when they first hit the shelves in 1953, owing to the lackluster performance of the inline six-cylinder that made just 150 horsepower. But the second-generation 63 Corvette Stingray received applause on the track with a Rochester fuel-injected engine that allowed it to make 110 miles per hour in 13.2 seconds. The interior was spruced with an exclusive twin cowl Corvette dash, 6 round gauges with a huge speedometer, and a tachometer in the center. Even though it left the Chevy production line with a 327 cubic inch engine, a 5.4-liter V8 that made 250 horsepower standard, optional variants were also available. 21,513 Corvette Stingrays, including coupes and convertibles, were built in 1963, with the coupes valued at $100,000 in today's muscle car market. At number 44 is the 1968 Chevrolet Nova SS396. While many thought the C3 Corvette was the only big win for Chevrolet in 1968, the company also released the sought-after Nova SS396 in just 5,571 units. It came with a best-selling powerful 350 horsepower 396 V8 workhorse, mated with a Muncie 4-speed manual transmission, which collectively helped the '68 Nova SS 396 achieve 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6 seconds and a 14-second quarter mile. The engine was appointed with solid lifters, big port heads, and an 800 CFM Holley 4-barrel. Reliable and affordable, the '68 Chevy Nova SS 396 was as close to an everyman's muscle car as the country would ever get. It arrived with a revamped interior complete with bucket seats, power front disc brakes, accent stripes, air conditioning, center console with a floor shift, tinted glass, power steering, a vinyl roof, a push-button radio, and tachometer. The Chevy Nova SS 396 offers stupendous power in a 3,400-pound package and offers performance a few muscle cars of the time could ever match. In today's market, the 1968 Chevrolet Nova SS 396 would likely sell for $100,000 or much more. At number 43 is the 2024 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 Collector's Edition. Before pulling the plug on the 6th generation Camaro in early 2024, Chevy celebrated the ZL1 win with the release of just 350 copies of the 2024 Camaro ZL1 Collector's Edition. Each ZL1 Camaro Collector's Edition vehicle was draped with a black metallic stripe on a panther black matte paint finish and a rear wing sourced from the ZL1 1LE. That's not all. The ZL1 2024 Collector's Edition Camaro has red brake calipers, a serialized badge stamped on the steering, and exclusive floor mats. Wondering what's under the hood? Well, the powerful 6.2-liter supercharged unit was rated at 650 horsepower, found in all 6th generation Camaro models. If you're not happy with the 650 horses, you can lift the grunt to 1,000 horsepower by adding the optional Hennessy's Exorcist Final Edition. The Chevy Camaro ZL1 Collector's Edition came with a roughly $15,000 increased premium over the base MSRP for a total of $89,000 and change. Even though most of the upgrades were cosmetic, the ZL1 Collector's Edition Camaro will be worth a lot more in the years to come. At number 42 is the 1996 Chevrolet Impala SS. The 1996 Chevrolet Impala SS is as close as you can get to a 4-door Corvette. Though it was a bona fide muscle car in its heyday, partly due to its subdued looks and wide-body design, it doesn't get the recognition as its performance merited. The 96 model year Impala SS returned to road duty with all the bells and whistles needed to justify its 2 last letters, including a beefed-up LT1 V8, a lower heavy-duty suspension derived from the Caprice cop car, larger brakes, a limited slip differential, and dual exhausts. To make the 96 Impala distinct from the Caprices, Chevy loaded it with special 5-spoke aluminum wheels and a rear spoiler and deleted all exterior flashy chrome trim. The 96 Chevy Impala SS was a mean machine that was capable of sprinting to 60 miles per hour in 7 seconds and through the quarter mile in 15.4 seconds. Chevrolet produced 41,941 1996 Impala SS sedans, and you can pick one up in good condition for roughly $20,000. Next at number 41 is the 2010 Chevrolet Camaro ZL550. The 2010 Chevrolet Camaro ZL550 is an enthusiast dream with its big V8 under the hood that produces an astounding 550 horsepower. Produced in collaboration with SLP Performance, the first company to develop a performance package for V8 Camaros that was legal in all 50 states, the 2010 Camaro ZL550 is a limited edition package with a production run of just 250 copies. It comes loaded with a loudmouth catback exhaust system, an SLP Blackwing cold air induction system, an SLP Sport suspension package, and a bespoke ground effects package. All 250 ZL550 Camaros feature a 6-speed automatic transmission complete with manual shift control a custom SLP hood, and a body color deck lid spoiler. And in the interior, it was power everything from the windows and doors to the tilt steering wheel and keyless remote entry. Optional equipment for the 2010 Camaro ZL550 included a 3.45 gear ratio and Brembo brakes. Due to its limited production, the 2010 Chevrolet Camaro SS SLP ZL550 can be worth more than $50,000. At number 40 is the 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu SS. Chevrolet introduced the first generation of the Chevelle in 1964 and produced it in various shapes and sizes. But the one that sparked excitement was the Malibu SS version, the highest trim in the lineup. The Chevy Chevelle Malibu SS was restyled for 1970 with new front fenders, a doomed hood, and a new grille that sported the SS Supersport badge. Taillights integrated into the bumper mated with reversing light, a new instrument cluster, and either a 4-speed Muncie manual gearbox or the 2-speed Power Glide transmission in the cabin. The 1970 Chevy Chevelle Malibu SS 454 LS6 is billed as the most powerful Chevelle ever made in terms of performance. Though Chevy did release roughly 53,000 units of the Chevy Malibu SS 396 in 1970, the SS 454 LS6 was a one-year gem and was only fitted in around 4,475 cars. You can easily find a 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu SS 396 V8 under $30,000, but the version with the big block 454 is a worthy investment, and that one can sell for well over $250,000. At number 39, the 1975 Chevrolet Chevelle Laguna S3. The Chevy Laguna S3 enjoyed a 4-year run between 1973 and 1976 and was built on GM's Colonnade-style A-body intermediate chassis. This slant-nosed beast won the Manufacturer's Cup twice in 1976 and 1977, and this fact alone makes it a rare bird for any avid muscle car collector. The S3 Laguna arrived with sporty touches, special instruments including a tachometer and unique exterior graphics, and several other things that made it look fast, including window louvers, rally wheels, but the accessories hardly improved the performance. Even with the optional 400 cubic inch small block, the 1975 Laguna S3 snailed from 0 to 60 in well over 10 seconds. Definitely not Supersport worthy. Chevy compensated for the loss in performance with an increase in luxury, but that didn't help its slower sales and forced the company to drop the model after 1976. Though the Laguna S3 had a 3-year lifespan and only 32,680 copies sold, modern-day prices between $2,500 and $10,000 don't reflect its rarity. At number 38, the 2021 C8 Corvette. The 2021 C8 Corvette is as rare as you want it to be because its real value, believe it or not, is somewhat determined by its exterior-interior color combinations. For example, Chevy built just 9 Zeus Bronze complemented with a Morello interior C8 Corvettes in 2021. And the Sky Cool Gray and Strike Yellow combo fitted on just 274 units of the 26,212 C8 Corvettes made that year. This 8th generation Corvette is in its 2nd model year, offers impressive performance, and is well equipped to continue the muscle car's legacy with a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated pushrod V8 that is neatly tucked away ahead of the rear wheels that produces 490 horsepower and 460 pounds of torque. If that's not enough, adding the Z51 performance package nudges the power figures up to 495 horsepower and 480 pounds of torque and trims the 0 to 60 time to 2.9 seconds. But there's only one transmission option to choose from, an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic. No playing with clutch pedals or manual shift levers. the 2021 is a rare bird and can fetch up to $100,000, depending on the trim levels. At number 37, the 1982 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 Indy Pace Car. The 1982 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 Indy Pace Car belongs to the first year of the third-generation Camaro, produced from 1982 to 1992. It is the third Camaro to pace the Indy 500, an achievement that even the prestigious Corvettes couldn't match. Fitted with an all-aluminum, fuel-injected small block, the 82 Chevy Indy Pace Car arrived ready for the track, including bow tie heads, an 82nd edition throttle body injection induction like the one used in the 82 Corvettes, and the infamous Iron Duke 4-cylinder engine. Chevrolet built 6,360 1982 Camaro Z28 Indy Pace Car replicas, all of which featured a custom paint scheme, interior, and wheels. But even with all these upgrades, the value of the 1982 Camaro Z28 Pace Car replicas is more or less the same as the standard Z28 models. The 1982 Camaro Z28 Indy Pace Car can set you back roughly $20,000 and offers great nostalgic value, taking you back to the best of the 80s. At number 36, the 1964 Chevrolet Nova SS. Chevy rolled out the first Nova off the production lines in 1962 with a 6-cylinder that wasn't designed for power on the strip. But after tweaking the car for a few years in a bid to speed up the vehicle, Chevy unleashed the 1964 Chevy 2 Nova SS. The 1964 Nova SS was a top-of-the-line trim for the breed and was a budget-friendly car with a set of racing teeth. A small block 283 cubic inch V8 that produced an impressive 195 horsepower. One of the key traits of the 64 Chevy Nova SS was its lightweight design, tipping the scales at just 2,560 pounds. The lighter the vehicle, the faster it will go. The perfect combination of small size, lightweight, and V8 power propelled the Nova SS down across the quarter-mile track in under 15 seconds. Chevy pushed out roughly 10,500 SS Novas in 1964, owing mostly to low sales compared to the Chevelle and the Ford Falcon. Even though it wasn't a bestseller of its time, the 64 Nova SS is worth a pretty penny, around $40,000 at a recent auction. At number 35, the 1971 Chevrolet SS 454 Monte Carlo. Dubbed Chevy's first luxury muscle car, the 1971 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS 54 was the company's offering for the burgeoning luxury muscle car market. With its striking design and impressive performance, the 71 Monte Carlo SS 454 made its mark in muscle car history amid stiff competition from the Pontiac Grand Prix, Oldsmobile Tornado, and Buick Riviera, among others. The 1971 Monte Carlo SS 454 had a slightly higher horsepower than the 1970 model and was ready for action with the LS5 454 cubic inch engine, turbo hydromatic 400 automatic transmission, F41 heavy-duty suspension, and other bells and whistles like power front disc brakes, special exterior trim, and the SS badging. With a 0 to 60 time of 7 seconds and sprinting the quarter mile in 14.9 seconds at 92 miles per hour, the 71 Monte Carlo SS 454 offered respectable performance for a luxury muscle car. A total of 2,000 1970 Monte Carlo SS 454s were made, after which year Chevy dropped its dream to win in the luxury muscle car segment. Today, a 1971 Monte Carlo SS 454 is valued at approximately $40,000. At number 34, the 1975 Chevrolet Cosworth Vega. Called the Canyon Carver or Cosveg, the 1975 Chevy Cosworth Vega is a collector-worthy classic that was a collab between GM and Cosworth to create a compact sports car. This remarkable rear-drive subcompact machine was powered by a Cosworth twin-cam 2.0-liter engine designed by Formula One supplier Cosworth Engineering. It featured 4 valves per cylinder, which combined with an electronic port injection system resulted in a power surge of almost 50% over the base model. The 1975 Chevy Cosworth Vega took center stage with an all-black livery, contrasted by gold accents, and accelerated from 0 to 60 in an astounding 7.7 seconds. Even though the number of Chevy Cosworth Vegas built and sold is a big guess, many claim it's roughly 3,508 units, split between two short production model years, 1975 and 1976. We've seen 1975 Cosworth Vegas priced between $12,000 and $30,000, making it an affordable addition to any Chevy muscle car collection. At number 33, the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 RS X33 Cross Ram. Mark Donohue won the 1969 Trans Am title back in '69. The car used was a '69 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 RS X33 Cross Ram, making it technically the rarest 1969 Z28 on the planet. The '69 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 was known for running the quarter mile in 14.8 seconds with 290 horses, and the Cross Ram edition steps it up a few notches with a full 100 horsepower. The Cross Ram style manifold was an add-on to the iconic Camaro Z28 and came fully loaded with Holley 600 CFM double pump carburetors. Dubbed 2x4 by Chevy engineers, the Cross Ram was the only 4-barrel setup ever offered to the public by Chevrolet. This racing manifold was designed for one purpose only: spirited racing. It included an in-air cleaner unit that ducted directly to the fiberglass hood with an elongated hole or attached box. Even though the number of Cross Ram manifolds released to the public remains unclear, race car enthusiasts believe that number was no more than 600, each priced between $2,000 to $4,000, over and above the cost of a '69 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. At number 32, the 1968 Chevrolet Impala SS427. The 1968 Chevy Impala SS427 is a different animal in its own right. A full-size muscle car that came factory loaded with all the goodies and essentials that could give Hemis a run for their money. Chevy equipped the '68 Impala SS427 with the Z24 SS427 SS Performance Package, which included the L36 385 horsepower 427 turbojet engine, a 4-speed manual gearbox or 3-speed turbo hydromatic transmission, and redline tires. For aesthetics, the Impala SS427 has a domed hood with simulated air intake, a black accented grille, and bright simulated front fenders. What's intriguing is that Chevy sold roughly 70,000 Impalas that year, 38,000 of them the super sport guys with the 327 cubic inch V8 engine, but only 1,788 had the mighty SS427 embedded. With the same engine as a '65 Corvette on board, the 1968 Impala SS427 revved 5,200 RPM and 460 pounds of torque. A well-preserved, range-topping '68 Impala SS427 fetches between $50,000 and $75,000 in the current market. At number 31, the 1987 Chevrolet El Camino SS. A coupe utility vehicle, ever heard of it? A perfect example is the Chevrolet El Camino, first introduced in 1959. Even though there's something special about all the generations of this popular ute, the 861 Chevy SS El Caminos unleashed in 1989 were truly in a league of their own. For starters, the 87 El Camino was more sleek-looking, lighter, and smaller than the versions produced before. It packed the legendary 5.7-liter LS6 V8, the same big block that put the C5 Corvette Z06 on the map during the early 2000s. This raw power allowed the 87 El Camino to deliver great performance on the track and for towing duties. While acceleration and top speed were modest by modern standards, the 87 El Camino was an affordable, accessible classic for car enthusiasts of varying skill levels, thanks to its car-like handling capabilities. The 87 El Camino SS today is a valuable collectible, with well-kept examples fetching between $15,000 and $50,000. At number 30, the 1990 Chevrolet Beretta Indy Pace Car. Even though the 1990 Chevrolet Beretta Indy Pace Car isn't technically a muscle car, it checks all the boxes to make it to this list, starting with the limited 1,500 units produced that year specifically for a NASCAR event. It left the factory line with a special handling package called Level 4, which includes gas shocks, power rack and pinion steering, and front power disc brakes, and was available in coupe and convertible options. In terms of power, the 1990 Chevy Beretta Indy Pace Car didn't disappoint, with a 3.1-liter 60-degree V6 rated at 140 horsepower, a decent snail pacer at the racetrack. The Chevrolet Berettas were appointed an array of comfort features, including new cloth seat covers and cushions, a cool instrument cluster, and a couple of Chevy decals. The 90 Indy Pace Car Beretta is a great affordable addition to any muscle car garage with prices under $15,000 for a piece in fairly good condition. Number 29 is the 1966 Corvair Yenko Stinger. The rare 1966 Yenko Corvair Stingers were Yenko's very first race cars, and they all got exclusive serial numbers, engine modifications, and special body accessories, and were painted in white and blue, the traditional American racing colors. Jay Leno owns one of the 100 production models made that year and calls it a poor man's Porsche 911. The 1966 Yenko Stinger Corvair rang in with a range of upgrades to improve its performance, including a special suspension system, performance tires, and a modified engine. Yenko also took things to another level by adding a range of visual treats, including distinctive striping and badging to make the 1966 Yenko Corvair Stinger stand out from other conventional Corvairs. This superior supercharged engine produced over 220 horsepower, a significant number for the 2,100-pound car, making it one of the fastest Corvairs ever produced. Today, surviving 69 Yenko Stinger Corvairs are highly collectible, and they can command high prices at auction or in private sales, somewhere in the range of $50,000 to $100,000. 28, we have the 1969 Capo Camaro. Back in 1969, 1,000 muscle car freaks got in their heads on what was dubbed Capo Camaros, each fitted with Chevy's iconic 427 cubic inch 7.0-liter V8 big block under the hood. This stupendous engine brought heavy artillery to the drag racing strip and arrived complete with 11:0:1 compression, rectangular port heads, a high-rise intake manifold, and a 780 CFM carburetor. Chevrolet was quick to rate these limited productions at 425 horsepower and 460 pounds of torque. But racing enthusiasts classified the 69 Capo Camaros in the 450 horsepower drag racing class, which sounds a bit more realistic. Some of the 1,000 Capo Camaros produced that year were sold with a 9737 sports car conversion kit, which brought in a few more performance bells and whistles, like a front stabilizer bar, rally wheels, a 140 mph speedometer, gears with posy traction, heavy-duty springs, and front power disc brakes. These beasts are rare, somewhere around $335,500 for a 1969 Capo Camaro in good condition. At 27, we have the 1970 Chevrolet El Camino SS LS6. A rare classic, the 1970 Chevrolet El Camino SS LS6 is one of the most desirable muscle cars ever built for several reasons. The 1970 El Camino SS left the Chevy assembly line with a 454 cubic inch big block V8 LS6 under its hood, complemented by a 4-barrel carburetor from Holley. Turbo 400 automatic and 4.11 posy traction gears were part of the package and helped this thoroughbred supercar run the quarter mile in the mid-13 seconds at 108 miles per hour. With its SS badge front grille, twin stereo stripes, and standard doomed or optional cowl induction hood, the The El Camino SS LS6 was nearly identical to the flashy, freshly restyled 1970 Chevelle SS from the front. Most people in the know agree that roughly 500 examples of the 70 El Camino SS LS6 were produced that year. A surviving example of this part muscle car, part pickup truck demands anywhere from $50,000 to over $100,000 in today's market. At number 26, the 1967 Camaro Z28. The Chevy 1967 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 is a classic muscle raw power rig that many of us may rarely see in the metal because only 602 units were ordered. Even though 67 was the debut year for the Camaro, that year also marked the arrival of the iconic Z28. Only Chevy made just 602 versions of this track-ready Camaro, mainly because they were designed for the Trans Am racing series. The 67 Camaro emphasized handling as much as power, with a beefed-up suspension, front disc brakes, and a Muncie M21 transmission. The latter, mated to a high-output 302 small block V8, is rated at 290 horsepower by Chevy. But on the road, the 302-powered 67 Z28 is fiercer, pushing more than 375 horsepower and 415 pounds of torque. The exterior features exclusive broad twin stripes on the nose and tail and 15-inch styled steel wheels. Chevy dealers sold Z28 Camaros starting as low as $3,315 in 1967. But today, these raw muscle rare ponies are worth over $100,000, if you can find one. At number 25 is the 1967 Chevelle SS396 L78. The 1967 Chevrolet Chevelle SS L78 is arguably the most desirable Chevelle out there. Equipped with a 396 cubic inch 6.5-liter L78 V8 rated at an astounding 396 horsepower and 415 pounds of torque, at 3,600 RPM, it was on par with most muscle cars introduced in that year. The 1967 Chevelle SS396 L78 came with updated lower-profile F70X14s with nylon belts, an improved grip, and steering response, making the car feel more secure in changes of direction. The wide ovals also helped optimize the newly available front disc brakes, which enhanced stopping power and pedal modulation. Adding to this list was an energy-absorbing steering column, padded instrument panel surfaces, and an optional tack located towards the left of the steering wheel. Even though the 67 Chevelle SS396 L78 was a solid performer, people weren't big fans, hence production stalled at 612 units. But owing to their limited production, they fetch around $90,000 to $120,000 today. At 24 is the 1964 Chevrolet Camaro Z10 RS. Chevrolet Camaro Z10 RS is the coupe form of the Camaro Z11 Indy pace car convertible and is powered by a 350 cubic inch V8 engine with a 4-speed manual transmission. It's finished in Dover white and Hugger orange with a stunning hoodstooth interior and is often referred to as a pace car coupe. The 69 Z10s were built at Norwood and stand on the cowl tag but never carried the pace car door decals because they weren't showcased at the Indy 500. But RPO Z10 badging is displayed prominently on the window stickers. Most 69 Z10 RS Camaros came with the L48 350 or 300 horsepower engine, but the roaring 396 engines were optional. They could either be had with an automatic or a 4-speed manual. Other key features include air conditioning, 3.36 posi-traction rear end, power disc brakes, and power steering. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro RS SS Z10 typically goes under the hammer for around $75,000. At number 23, the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro RS SS Z11 Indy pace car convertible. The 1969 Camaro was perhaps the most famous and iconic of all Indy pace cars, and strolled the 53rd running of the Indianapolis 500 on May 30th, 1969. Chevrolet sold 3,675 examples, all finished in Dover white with hugger orange stripes and identical in trim, sporting SS and RS specifications. Most Camaro RS SS Z11 pace cars left the assembly line with 350 cubic inch 5.7 liter V8 engines that showcased 300 horsepower and 380 pounds of torque. The company also dropped the larger and stupendous 396 cubic inch 6.5 liter V8 in a few cars, which cranked out 375 horsepower and 415 pounds of torque. The interior was just as spectacular, with eye-popping hoodstooth upholstery in hugger orange, wood grain accents on the dash and steering wheel, and molded plastic door panels. 15-inch ZJ7 rally wheels and the new ZL2 cowl induction hood were also part of the '69 Camaro RS SS Z11 Indy pace car package. Today, they are worth $75,000, or much more if you can find one. At 22, the 1971 Chevrolet Corvette ZR2. The 1971 Chevy Corvette ZR2 is a stunner, as it is rare, with only 12 units leaving the Chevy shop. Nicknamed Zora's Racer after the car's chief engineer Zora Arkus Duntov, the 71 ZR2 slots into the third generation of Corvettes. The 71 Corvette ZR2 is regarded as one of the best handling big block Corvettes ever, and wasn't lazy on the drag strip with its big block Mark IV LS6 V8 mated with a stout Muncie M22 close ratio rock crusher 4-speed manual transmission that pumped out 425 horsepower. The package also included a cutting-edge transistorized ignition, heavy-duty aluminum radiator with shroud delete, and heavy-duty power disc brakes. Even though buyers could choose between a hardtop or convertible model, only 2 lucky ones opted for the convertible trim. The 71 Corvette ZR2 was a rather expensive muscle car with a sticker price of $7,672.80 when launched, the equivalent of 3 chevelles. And considering its rarity, its current cost remains out of reach, even for many collectors. At number 21, the 2019 50th Anniversary Capo Camaro. As the name suggests, Chevrolet sort of secretly released 69 Capo Camaro muscle cars in 2019, complete with special edition details highlighting the historic 50th anniversary of the original Capo dragstrip car. Offered an exclusive anniversary metallic blue paint with graphics that made it stand out from previous Camaro models, the 50th anniversary 2019 Capo Camaro features an orange engine block, chrome valve covers, and a black high-rise intake manifold, all mimicking the original 1969 Capo Camaro, including original Capo's limited availability. 2 engine options were on tap: a normally aspirated 427 cubic inch V8, a 350 cubic inch V8 with a 2.65 liter Magnuson supercharger, and a 302 cubic inch V8 engine. Chevrolet released the 2019 Camaro 50th Anniversary Edition at SEMA in 2018. It came standard with a Capo 50 tachometer and gauges, weight box, carbon fiber air intake, and dual AC Delco Professional AGM batteries. Even though they pretty much sold out before hitting the market, you can probably find one at an auction nearby for roughly $100,000. At number 20, the 1961 Chevy Impala SS 409. The 62 Impala was the first 1960s model that offered a high-performance package on an affordable platform. Some adrenaline enthusiasts say that it kicked off the muscle car era, and that's somewhat true given that the 61 SS Impala 409 came with Chevy's legendary big block V8 engine that made a wild 360 horsepower and, more importantly, helped the SS Impala make history. Mated with a Muncie 4-speed manual gearbox, the 61 Chevy Impala SS 409 ran the quarter mile in 14.2 seconds at 98 miles per hour. The car featured a steering column mounted tack, a Corvette-style grab handle on the passenger side of the dash, an array of forged aluminum pistons, a hotter camshaft, and a compression ratio of 11.25 to 1. Even though 453 Impalas left the factory with the SS package, only 142 had the 409 under their hood. Not many people want to part with their 61 SS Impala 409, owing its limited production number, but it typically goes under the hammer for $100,000. At number 19, the 1969 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport Convertible. 1996 was an eventful year. The Dallas Cowboys made and won the Super Bowl. The Bulls were NBA champs, and in the automotive department, Chevy released the Corvette Grand Sport. What many car enthusiasts don't realize is that the 1996 Grand Corvette Sport bridges the gap between the C4 ZR1, axed a year earlier, and the C5 Corvette that was going to take center stage in 1997. This is probably why Chevy made just 190 96 Corvette Grand Sport convertibles. This class of convertibles were factory packed with an ice-cold 5.7-liter V8 LT4 engine and made 350 horsepower and 340 pounds of torque, allowing it to run from 0 to 60 in under 4.9 seconds. It came with a class-leading ZF 6-speed manual transmission and the retina-ripping red, white, and blue paint scheme, topped with ZR1 rims and tires. The scarce convertible came with a $48,858 price tag, but we've seen them go for roughly $25,000 at recent auctions. At number 18, 1970 Nova Yenko Deuce. By 1970, insurance companies balked at offering coverage for muscle cars like the Camaros and Chevelles. So Yenko, thinking outside the box, took the hottest small block Chevy had offered in years and loaded it with the lightest body in the Chevrolet lineup, resulting in the Yenko Deuce. Yenko started the year with 125 Novas and ordered 50 more mid-year to meet the demand for a grand total of 175 Yenko Nova Deuces in 1970. Each rare piece of Chevy muscle car art featured a Z28 Camaro LT1 Corvette 350 engine, a Muncie 4-speed manual or a turbo 400 automatic transmission, F41 sports suspension, and a 12-bolt differential with a 4.10-to-1 Posey traction. Rally wheels without trim rings and standout Dixco hood tachometers were also part of the package. The Yenko Deuce was a joy to drive and ran low 13 seconds with headers and slicks without any hiccups. Today, it commands a price tag of $100,000. At number 17, the 1968 Chevrolet Biscayne L72. The 1968 Biscayne wagon may look rough, but packs a 427 L72 V8 big block and Muncie M22 road crusher. Of the 1.2 million full-size Chevrolet cars produced that year, 568 1968 Chevrolet Biscaynes were equipped with the L72 motor, making the 68 Chevrolet Biscayne L72 one of the rarest muscle car options in any Chevrolet production year. The L7 engine sported solid lifters and camshaft, 11-to-1 compression, 4-bolt main caps, massive high-flowing rectangular port heads, and an advertised 425 horsepower, even though it was more like 500 horses. Inside, the Biscayne L72's cabin was spacious and functional, with durable materials designed to withstand the rigors of daily use. The exterior styling of the 68 Biscayne L72 was clean with a long, straight body line that exuded a sense of strength and reliability. Its drag racing origins are evident in its heavy-duty chassis equipment, special-purpose suspension, heavy-duty clutch fan, factory tachometer, and rare radio delete. The 68 Chevy sleeper muscle car, cloaked in the guise of a family sedan, is valued roughly at $40,000. At number 16, the 1986 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. Chevy made a limited 200 Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupes in 1986 because they were designed as a homologation model to be able to compete in NASCAR. The 86 SS Aero Coupe is somewhat different than other Monte Carlos with its sloping back window and shorter trunk design to cheat the wind and increase downforce for superior performance. Its interior gets a lot of love too, with cloth front bucket seats and air conditioning. In terms of power, the 86 Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe doesn't disappoint with a factory-fitted 5.0-liter high-output V8 engine and Rochester Quadrajet 4-barrel carburetor. Car enthusiasts say it delivers 180 horsepower and 230 pounds of torque, with everything going to the rear wheels via a 4-speed automatic transmission. This performance, along with its rarity, makes the 86 Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe desirable for many muscle car collectors. You probably won't find a clean Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe these days, but if you're lucky, it will likely set you back approximately $25,000. At number 15, the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Yenko. Even though the 1969 Yenko Camaro 427 was built by Chevrolet, it was dreamed up by car dealer and renowned bowtie tuner Don Yenko. Finished with front and rear spoilers, a cowl induction hood, Yenko 427 badges, special striping, and SYC identification, there's no mistaking any of the 269 Yenko Camaro 427s on the road. They left the Chevy factory in Norwood, Ohio, loaded with a deluxe interior, a center console with auxiliary gauges, and a Muncie 4-speed manual. Surprisingly, the robust massive V8 is not its best selling point. The real rarity on this car is the JL8 4-wheel disc brakes on all 4 corners. These hard-punching machines clock a quarter mile of 12.59 seconds at 108.2 miles per hour and flash from 0 to 60 miles in 5.4 seconds. The 1969 Yenko Camaro 427 helped Chevrolet save face in front of the Ford Mustang Boss's 429 in 1969 and is valued at over $481,000 today. Coming in at number 14, the 1965 Chevelle Malibu SS 396 Z16. The 1965 Chevy Malibu SS 396 Z16 is a muscle car icon that very few knew existed. And it's not just because there were just 200 two-door SS Z16 coupes that left Chevy's muscle shop, but the company chose not to advertise this phenomenal Pontiac GTO slayer. With a massive 396 V8 engine under the hood, the 65 Chevy Malibu SS 396 Z16 delivers knife-like performance, pushing 375 horsepower and a stump-pulling 420 pounds of torque. To top things off, Chevy added a floor-shifted Muncie M20 4-speed manual with wide gear ratios, a more robust 12-bolt rear, bigger Impala source drum brakes, box frame rails from the Malibu convertible, and a heavy-duty suspension system. Out of the 201 1965 Z16 units, only 72 are known to have survived. Because of its rarity and pioneering role in the rise of the Chevelle SS nameplate to muscle car stardom, many of these survivors are currently valued at well over $200,000. At number 13, the 1969-1971 Baldwin Motion Phase 3 GT Corvette. The Baldwin Motion Phase 3 GT Corvettes were made as a collab between Motion Performance and Baldwin Chevrolet between 1969 and 1971. Some versions churn out between 430 and 450 horses and cover the quarter-mile dash in the mid-11-second range. Production was shut down by the Justice Department after just 10 units. The performance of the Baldwin Motion Corvettes were made legendary in muscle car circles. They're exceedingly rare, just 3 are thought to have survived, and are now considered highly collectible. No 2 Baldwin Motion Corvettes are the same. They were each tailored to client specifications. Most Baldwin Corvettes featured Le Mans-style headlights, Shelby-style side scoops, a functional hood scoop, custom side louvers, a slanted fastback rear window, a quill-fill fuel filler, slit taillights, a motion traction bar, custom sport mirrors, flared wheel wells, slotted aluminum wheels, and a high-rise aluminum intake with Holley carburetor. The Chevy Corvette Baldwin is as fast as it is rare, and the last we heard changed hands in 2005 for $231,000. At number 12, the 1963 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport. Designed to compete with the Grand Sports Car and FIA endurance races located in France, the 1963 Corvette Grand Sport was built from day one with endurance racing in mind. It featured a lightweight 550 horsepower 6.2-liter V8 plumbed to a 36-gallon fuel tank and bolted to a 4-speed manual that spun power to a posi-traction rear end. The 63 Grand Sport also had uprated shocks and springs and heavy-duty power brakes. It featured deep-cut hood vents with wider wheels and wider wheel arches to match. The 63 Chevrolet Grand Sport is an exceeding rare Chevrolet muscle car because GM halted production after 5 were built due to its motorsports ban. It lives on as one of the most important racing cars in history owing to its innovation, lightweight, and powerful performance. Not that they ever do, but if one were to go under the hammer today, it would be priced in the millions and millions of dollars. At number 11, the 1990 Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z 1LE. The 1990 Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z 1LE is extra special and rare as only 62 305 5-speed cars were produced in 1990, also the last year of the IROC Camaro. In 1991, the IROC Z was discontinued after the International Race of Champions moved to the Dodge Daytona. The high-performance version of the third-generation Camaro, specifically engineered for racing enthusiasts, was factory-equipped with a phenomenal 245 horsepower 5.7-liter TPI engine, 700 R4 transmission, and 3.23 gears in the limited-slip rear end. The 1990 IROC Z sprints through the quarter mile in 14.74 seconds. The lack of T-tops, stereo, power leather seats, air conditioning, power lock doors, power trunk, cruise control, and power windows kept the weight low as well, somewhere around 3,100 pounds. The 1LE was a stripper model made to do just one thing: go fast. In 1990, you got it for the price of $16,000. If you get your hands on one today, expect to pay anything between $25,000 to $50,000 for a 1990 Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z 1LE. Now in the top 10 at number 10, the 1970 Chevelle SS454 LS6 convertible. Arguably known in the muscle car world as the king of muscle cars, the 1970 Chevy Chevelle SS454 LS6 is one of the most sought-after vehicles of the golden age of muscle. This pinnacle of pure bow-tie brawn is loaded with a solid lifter LS6 V8 that churns out a ridiculous factory underrated 450 horsepower and 500 pounds of torque. The Chevelle SS454 LS6 could be optioned with the Muncie M22 Rock Crusher closed ratio 4-speed manual transmission or the 3-speed M40 Turbo Hydromatic automatic. Adding to the party is an aggressive cam with a .520 lift and 316 degrees duration and solid lifters, along with a set of closed chamber heads with 2.19-inch intake and 1.88-inch exhaust valves. Collectively, they yield the engine's sky-high 11.25 to 1 compression ratio. Word on the drag street is that just 95 1970 Chevelle SS454 LS6 convertibles were built, and only 26 real ones are known to exist, with some going under the hammer for $600,000. At number 9, the 1969 Chevelle Yenko SC427. The 69 Yenko Chevelle is a marvel and is rarer than a hen's teeth, flexing the 427 cubic inch 7.0-liter L72 V8 under the hood. When we think about Don Yenko, it usually conjures images of the incredible Yenko Camaro or the rare 1969 Z11. But the 1969 Yenko Chevelle is much rarer than the two because only 99 Chevelles left the shop with the Capo-ordered L72 V8, and fewer than 50 are known to still exist. The 69 Yenko Chevelle came with an impressive spec sheet that included a choice of 2 transmission options: the Muncie M21 4-speed manual or the M40 Turbo Hydromatic 3-speed auto. 4 core radiators were also implemented to keep the big block chilled, and the modified suspension helped the smaller chevelle handle the excessive power. The rear end didn't disappoint either, with a 12-bolt Posey traction unit mated with a 4.10 to 1 gears that made the Yenko chevelle howl at the drag strip. Finding a '69 Yenko chevelle isn't just near impossible, but also very expensive, somewhere around $275,000. At number 8, the 1981 Yenko Camaro Turbo Z. The 1981 Yenko Camaro Turbo Z is an ultra-rare Chevy muscle car that was built by Don Yenko's dealership. This hidden gem from Chevrolet history offers a unique blend of classic muscle car looks with unexpected performance. But with only 19 units built, and with rarest of them being 3-stage 2 models that have turbochargers, it remains a rare case of a dying breed. Under the hood lies the Chevy's iconic 350 cubic inch V8 engine that pairs with an automatic gearbox. That's not all. The only Turbo International turbocharger pumping 7 psi into the stock carburetor, making an estimated 240 to 250 horsepower. Yenko also installed a proprietary fuel heating system and water injection into the Camaro. The upgrades allegedly shaved 3 seconds off the Yenko Camaro Turbo Z's quarter-mile time. The Yenko Camaro Turbo Z came with a hefty $11,000 price tag for the Stage 1 and $17,500 for the Stage 2 models. Car enthusiasts peg the Turbo Z selling at an estimated $60,000 to $80,000 in today's muscle car market. At number 7, we have the 1963 Impala RPO Z11. Geared toward drag racers and NASCAR enthusiasts, the 1963 Chevy Impala RPO Z11 is one of the rarest and meanest Impalas ever built, and was a final evolutionary step in Chevrolet's overt early 1960s drag program. This regular production option, or RPO, was essentially a higher Impala with a more robust V8, a 427 cubic inch 7.0 liter big block V8 engine that produced a whopping 430 horsepower and a staggering 575 pounds of torque. That's slightly more than the iconic 426 Hemi V8 engine that Mopar introduced a few years later. But the 63 Impala RPO Z11 wasn't just about sheer torque and power. It also had many of its steel parts built from aluminum. The bumpers, the grills, fenders, engine hood were all made from weight-saving material, resulting in a roughly 300-pound reduction over the traditional Impala. It's believed that 57 full-size 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11s were made, and only a handful of these rare and valuable muscle car artifacts exist today, some costing upwards of $300,000. Now at number 6, the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. You've probably never heard of the 1968 Camaro ZL1 because Chevrolet built just 69 copies. The all-aluminum 1969 Camaro ZL1 was based on the unsurpassed Corvette Iron Block Iron Heads L88, but updated with goodies like open chamber heads that move cubic tons of volume and made enormous horsepower and torque. Since its inception, the Camaro ZL1 has always been the star of the Chevrolet Camaro lineup, cranking up 500 plus horsepower without any hiccups, making it likely one of the most powerful engines Chevys ever offered to the public. It tipped the scales at just 500 pounds, about the same as Chevy's 327 cubic inch V8, and went a step beyond the 427 Yenko and even the mighty L88 Corvette. The 1969 Camaro carried the full 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty and was fully street legal. All this came at a price, $4,161 for the ZL1 engine alone, skyrocketing the car's sticker price to an astounding $7,200. The most recent auction sale of the Camaro ZL1 was $58,000 by Mecum Auctions, but muscle car aficionados estimate its worth upwards of $1 million. And into the top 5, at number 5, the 1968 Chevrolet Nova SS Capo. The Capo 9738 Nova SS marked the very first factory Chevrolet car that linked a mechanical lifter big block V8 to an automatic Muncie 4-speed manual transmission. With just 50 Capo Nova SS vehicles built, the vehicle is one of the rarest muscle cars of the golden era, and arrived with a long list of accessories including improved clutch packs, a 4.10 Posey traction diff, power-assisted drum brakes, 14x6 steel wheels, a heavy-duty 2.70-inch thick cross-flow radiator, dual exhaust, bucket seats, a floor shifter with a center console. It featured a radio delete, meaning it lacked a hole in the front right fender for an antenna, but instead had a cover end piece for a radio. Though the Copa Nova 9738 SS featured a price tag of $3,592.12 on release, an exceedingly good deal at the time, it would likely sell for roughly $250,000 in today's market. At number 4, the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Burger Double Capo. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Burger Double Capo is one of the rarest big block Camaros ever produced in the 60s. Even though the production numbers are a bit sketchy, we'll roll with 59 units. Around 40 of those went to Burger, a famous Michigan dealer, where the name Double Capo was born. The Capo, short for Central Office Production Order System, allowed Chevrolet dealers to order cars with options that weren't normally listed on order forms. Even though any Capo Camaro is rare, the Capo Burger Double is even rarer because it's also equipped with the Rarest package, an appearance package recognizable by its hideaway headlights and a unique grille with a centered Rarest badge replacing the Chevy bow tie. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Capo Burger Double was built at a Chevrolet Norwood plant and was fitted with the Capo 9561 L72 427 horsepower V8 engine, which allowed the vehicle to sprint from 0 to 60 in just 5.3 seconds. The 69 Burger Double Capo Camaro can be worth a lot of money, depending on its condition and options, but is typically valued at a staggering $300,000. At number 3, the 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88. The 67 Chevy Corvette is a collector's dream with only 20 ever made. It is one of the most valuable Corvettes of all time. Officially rated at 430 horsepower, the engine was good for around 560 horses with a bit of tuning, making the L88 a muscle car for the road. Introduced in 1967 alongside the L89 Tri-Power, the 67 L8 Corvette was fitted with an array of race-inspired parts, including lightweight heads, bigger ports, 12.5-to-1 compression, an aluminum radiator, a massive 4-barrel Holley carburetor, and is powered by a beefed-up 427 cubic inch 7.0-liter big block V8 engine. This 103-octane beast did, however, lack creature comfort options that would reduce performance and was built to deliver unprecedented speed and handling on the racetrack, and it sure didn't disappoint. The 67 Corvette L88 wasn't a cheap affair and came in at more than $5,700, a 35% premium over the base Corvette, but was sold at a 2014 Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale's auction for $3.85 million. At number 2, the 1969 Yenko Nova SC427. The 1969 Chevrolet Yenko Nova SC427 is in a league of its own with its outrageous performance crammed into a lethal compact package. Mated with a Muncie M21 4-speed manual and a 12-bolt Posey traction rear, the 1969 Chevrolet Yenko Nova's 427 was rated at 450 horsepower, a 25 horsepower increase over the 427 stock rating. But in essence, the true output potential of the engine stood closer to 500 horsepower. With all that raw power on tap, the 69 Yenko Nova 427 was capable of sprinting to 60 miles per hour from a standstill in the 5.5 to 6 second range, making these models a favorite for the drag strip. A total of 37 ground pounders were sold, making it one of the rarest muscle cars with a Chevrolet badge. Only 9 are estimated to still be in existence. The cost of the 1969 Yenko Nova, if you find someone willing to part with it, is somewhere between $250,000 and $500,000. And at number 1, the 1969 Corvette ZL1. Sliding in at the #1 position on our list of 50 rarest Chevrolet muscle cars ever made is the exclusive 1969 Corvette ZL1, an enigmatic vehicle that is today a monument in the landscape of American muscle cars. Originally designed for Can-Am racing, the 1969 Corvette ZL1 redefines rarity with its limited production of only 2 units crafted at the company's St. Louis plant, one of which sold for a whopping $3 million and change at the RM Sotheby's Arizona 2023 auction. The other rests in the prestigious garage of Roger Judsky, owner of the Rogers Corvette Center in Orlando, Florida. What's so special about the 69 427 Corvette? The answer lies under its hood, the ZL1 aluminum big block. The street-legal version of the 7.0-liter V8 delivers a raw 560 horsepower and propels the car through the quarter mile in just 10.89 seconds, making it the fastest production Corvette Stingray built by Chevrolet. The 69 Corvette ZL1 is also billed as the #3 rarest car in the world and is one of the most brilliant muscle car innovations to leave the Chevrolet muscle car garage. And for the bonus, the aftermarket rare Chevy that pushes 1,000 horsepower. The Hennessy Exorcist Camaro ZL1 Final Edition. Texas tuner John Hennessy built 57 units of the final edition of the 1,000 horsepower Exorcist Camaro ZL1, which is when the Camaro debuted 57 years ago in 1966 as a 1967 model. The Exorcist bumped the Camaro's stock 650 horsepower to 4 figures, with 1,000 horsepower and 966 pounds of torque, courtesy of a long list of upgrades and mods. The Hennessy Exorcist Camaro is fitted with a bigger high-flow supercharger to the 6.2-liter V8, high-flow air induction, and upgraded auxiliary fuel system, injectors, and pump. The car also sees upgrades like the traditional engine cylinder heads with custom HPE camshafts and intake and exhaust valves, valve springs, retainers, lifters, and push rods. The chassis, suspension, and power plant work in tandem, so all the driver experience is raw, unbridled horsepower. Throw in a new engine management software and you end up with a 0 to 60 miles per hour time in just 2.1 seconds, and a quarter-mile sprint of just 9.57 seconds, and a top speed of 217 miles per hour.